13 English League clubs support reintroducing standing at football grounds, according to a fans group. On Tuesday, the Football Supporters Federation is hoping to win the backing of MPs for its plans for a small-scale trial at Premier League clubs. It believes the pilot scheme would show standing, outlawed after the Hillsborough disaster in 1989, is now a safe way to watch football. The Premier League have released a statement opposing the idea. FSF's Peter Dakin said, "We need to find out if it can work, and the only way to do that is to trial it." But a Premier League statement says they will not be encouraging the government to change the law. It reads, "Since the introduction of all-seater stadia, the supporter experience has improved significantly, and we have seen more diverse crowds attending Premier League matches, including more women and children. The police, safety officers and licensing authorities remain clear and have consistently informed us that crowd management has improved as a result of all-seater stadiums being in place in the top 2 divisions in this country." All-seater stadiums have been compulsory in the Premier League since 1994, following Lord Justice Taylor's report after the Hillsborough disaster. But MP Roger Godsiff has tabled an early day motion calling for government approval of a pilot scheme. Now, see, for me, and of the teams who are back in the scheme, Liverpool and Sheffield Wednesday, and I think Nottingham Forest, are notable in not supporting it. And why? Because of Hillsborough. And the fact is, I don't think standards should be brought back either. I really don't think standards should be brought back at football grounds, because there is always an inherent danger. I mean, they're bringing up nets, saying, "Oh yeah, maybe nets" or anything like that, but I think all-seater stadiums, mate, that's how it needs to be. At the end of the day, if it ain't broke, for me, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. For me. And at the end of the day, all-seater stadiums were obviously brought in after the Hillsborough disaster because of the safety of people. We're not talking just men. We're talking about women. We're talking about children. So let's put this in some sort of perspective here, because obviously, being a Liverpool fan, I'm slightly biased in terms of Hillsborough, but at the same time, you just got to look at this from a logical perspective. A safe standing area in case of an emergency. Well, I've heard other leagues do it, but let other leagues do it. In the Premier League, they can't stop people running onto the pitch as it is. The stewards can't stop that as it is. So imagine something kicks off in the stands, and the stewards can't stand it, and the stewards can't stop it, and we potentially have another horrendous atrocity like what happened at Hillsborough. Imagine that happening again, and it's always a possibility that it could happen again. If you've got all standing, or if you've got some sort of standing area, because in this world where everyone's trying to make money from football and everyone's trying to make as much money as they can, someone corrupt, and there's a lot of corruption in football, someone corrupt will be like, yeah, let's just get a few more people in, let's make a few more quid, and then the safe standing areas all of a sudden become unsafe. And also, if you can't control fans as it is already, I mean, look at MK Dons versus AFC Wimbledon, where people were coming onto the pitch and just spilling out of the stands. That would be even worse if it was all standing. So if you can't control people coming onto the pitch already, you need to sort that problem out first before you even think of doing the whole safe standing thing, in my view. I don't agree with the safe standing thing. I am not an advocate of it. And the timing of it couldn't have been, and the timing of this debate couldn't be any worse. When just bearing in mind, the Hillsborough families are still trying to get justice and still trying to get a truthful account of what happened. And you're bringing up the standing issue. Timing. They say timing is everything. But I don't agree with it. I mean, Gman, what you reckon of this before we throw it out to the Skypers as well?
Well, you know what? Basically, I'll be repeating everything that you say. I don't personally believe in the safe standing thing, and this is just from a personal view of if an atrocity's happened, why would you look back? Why would you not look back and see what caused that atrocity? And if you can see that safe standing was one of the reasons, because, like you said, if someone's going to be trying to fill up seats, you know, just slipping in that extra person, an extra person is an extra person. How many extra people are you slipping in?
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Oh, it's only 20 more. Oh, it's only 100 more.
You know, next minute, you know, you got the whole, everyone hears about how people are slipping in somehow. And you've got crowds and crowds of people week after week. It's get larger groups.
Yeah.
That's speculation.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's just me, you know, just trying to overthink about the situation. But like you said, it's just looking at the Hillsborough, what happened at Hillsborough, was looking at what's happened across the world with, like, you know, countries like in Africa. You hear about where stadiums have collapsed because they've overfilled stadiums.
Well, stampedes
and stuff.
I mean, I swear something like that. Well, like a riot broke out in I think it was Senegal v Ivory Coast recently. Yeah. So if you can't control fans, don't even think about bringing all standing or any sort of standing.
Going back to just touching on the money situation. That's all it is about. That's why these, you know, they're thinking about it, because Premier apparently, because of downloading and being able to watch football live and streaming and stuff like that, Premiership and all the leagues across England are losing out on money where people would go to live matches. And then there's meant to be an old contingent who like the idea of standing, which, to be honest, I honestly can't believe there is a heavy group of crowd that like to stand.
Well, it's one of them ones. It's one of them ones. Stand up when your team scores.
Precisely.
It's like what the Arsenal fans sing. Stand up if you hate Tottenham.
Man, I've been to matches. My legs get tired. You get me? I like to coach a little bit when no real actions happen.
Yeah, mate. I've got bad knees, man. I can't be standing up for an hour and a half or 45-minute increments. I don't. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of it. I'm really not a fan of it.
It's a big risk.
The whole safe standing. I mean, does anyone else want to jump into the safe standing issue, potentially as well?
Yeah, I'll take you. Yeah.
Yeah, go on, Mike, because you've been quite vocal. You've been quite vocal in the chat, man. Mike Harniman, have at it, man.
Yeah, basically, it works in lower league stadiums, but that's because there's a lot less people in there in the first place, and there's not more stewards, but it's easier for the stewards to deal with that.
Yeah.
And also, basically, like you've said already, with the people going on the pitch and all that, they can't control that, and they can't control people coming in to a so-called safe standing area. It could, like you're saying, it's going to be 20 people, 100 people. It's going to build and build and build.
Yeah, because
you can't control every single person that's in the terraces, can you?
Yeah.
And also just thinking about, I've read that Cass Pennant book. Have you seen the film as well? Yeah,
I haven't seen Cass.
Well, just thinking about the stories about how the days of when Millwall and West Ham fans, Manchester United fans, Leeds fans, the way they used to infiltrate the safe, like when it was standing areas, and they used to infiltrate. They used to. When you got a standing area, like Mike just said, you know, if they can't control people moving from place to place, you know, if you're a fan of an opposing fan and you're a troublemaker. I'm presuming it's more than likely you're going to get more trouble in a safe standing area than someone who's going to go to a seated area and try and start trouble, because they'll get picked out like a penny.
Most definitely, because even in the lower league games, in the lower league grounds, you see that.
Facebook.com/Pitch Talk and @Pitch Talk on Twitter, and also on Google Plus as well. Let us know your views about that. Standing at football, should it be brought back? Is
there anybody that wants safe standing? Find out their views. Yeah, that would be interesting to hear why they want safe standing.
Yeah. It's one of them ones, man. Let's see if the peeps on the social networks have anything. But Tom Wood, you wanted to say something as well?
Yeah, if they did bring standing back, it'd be good for like the lower leagues, because they'll get a bigger, more crowd.
Is that the only thing? Do you think that's the only kind of thing that would help?
The non-league stadiums, they have like fences, like proper like wooden fences, like with barriers around the side, so no one can get over.
Yeah.
And then they usually have stewards just standing next to the fans in case they try and jump over.
But I mean, as Mike correctly said, it's a case of at lower league, if you've got 200-300 people, that's a lot more of a controllable element than 30 or 40 or 50,000.
No, I'm just saying it for like lower league. Just bring it in for lower leagues, not like the higher leagues.
Yeah.
It'll be better because a lot of stadiums like lower leagues. So when I went and watched like Canby play against Southend, it was like all standing up mostly, and one was just sitting down.
Yeah. Because I remember Fulham's Hammersmith stand before it got rebuilt. I remember going to watch them against Gillingham back when I was in secondary school. So it probably took about 1998, 99. They beat them 3-0. And the Hammersmith end was all standing. And yeah, it was good. It was good. It was good. But at the same time, I wouldn't want to. I mean, I wouldn't want to see it at bigger grounds, because I said it'd just be harder to police. And even so, at the end of that game, there was a little mini pitch invasion where some people who I actually went to the match with actually ended up dashing on the pitch. So it almost kind of there's your answer right there.
Yeah, like I hate Gillingham's away end. When I went to Gillingham like 2 seasons ago, like their away end's like not that good. Like it's like all like scaffolding. It's like sitting down. And it hasn't even got a roof.
I mean, Micah said they done it at Hitchin's playoff final. I mean, there was even last season as well when there was a pitch invasion. And one of the Stevie Dish players got boxed in the face. We brought that up about a week or 2 ago. So, I mean, Russ, you wanted to jump in as well, didn't you?
Yes, because sometimes when I'm not Leeds matches I'm not doing alternate Saturdays. Sometimes when I watch a non-league side called Paulgate FC, which is in March. And they're a few seats behind back of one and goals, but the rest of it is all standing in. I went to the friendly against Rotherham at the beginning of this season, right? And first half I stood behind the fence, but second half majority of fans stood over the other side of over the wall, and I was still watching game, telling players where to go, but then they were manager and everything. And one of the Palgate players come winning past doing warm up, give him a high five, and then at full time I went onto the pitch and shook hands, and all the show said to me was, because I went down, they went, you can go onto the pitch as soon as whistle goes, but while the match, stay back and just stand up near the touchline if you want to go a bit further to say, but be back. But after the game you can go onto the pitch and shake players' hands if you want to. So that's what I did, and they were fine with that, because they do that all games, so you can go onto the pitch after full time, because the majority of fans just would straight along pitch to go around all corners to get straight out of the ground.
But you know what? There is an inherent risk in there, and like we just said about the Stevenage thing, yeah, letting fans onto the pitch after the game is all good, but there's always that one moronic fan. There's always one moron, the moronic minority, as I like to say. There's always one who's going to come on and do something stupid. I mean, like, there's been something quite interesting on Twitter that's been said. Who said that?
Yeah, Gold Kane, one of our regular...
That's Kane Bennett, yeah.
Basically, we've asked, safe standing in football, good or bad? Who would it suit best? Can the bigger clubs control safe standing areas in stadiums? And Kane's basically said, we have it at Posh, improves chanting and encourages fan unity. Times have changed, it's needed bringing back.
Bring it back, sing it back, bring it back. I don't agree with it, but at the end of the day, that's Kane Bennett's view. We've had Ross Vernon's view. We've had a few other views too. And Elliot Waller, you wanted to jump in as well?
Yeah, just to answer Gman's question. We have one bit where fans stand up at the KC, and that's always the bit where most of the atmosphere is. I think it'll build more atmosphere to the game instead of just being sat down and relaxed throughout the game. Instead, you stood up and the atmosphere's in the game.
But see, for me, I don't think like standing up is going to change anything in terms of atmosphere, to be honest. Because for me, it's a case of the fans create the atmosphere themselves. by chanting, by saying stand up if you hate another team or whatever. It's like that's where you get the banter. That's where you get the atmosphere. I don't think standing is gonna help that. I don't think so, to be perfectly frank. I mean, if you're a manager or a coach, yeah, you gotta be standing. I mean, I've had games where I've taken over the captaincy of Ibis for 3 games, and I was like, man, I couldn't sit down on them games. It's one of them ones, but like even when I've been a sub this season, like when I was sub for the twos a few weeks back, it was a case of, mate, I wasn't sitting down at all. But I don't think standing is gonna add anything to the atmosphere. I just don't think that. At the end of the day, for me, it's a safety risk. So, and also, you'll have little children trying to see as well, and they're not going to be able to see because some idiot will be standing in front of them and blocking them off. So that's detracting from the experience for children and short people. Like Santi Cazorla in the ground. Imagine him.
4'4".
He ain't seeing over anyone because he's like yay high.
Santi the Hobbit. But no, but you know what's interesting in that? Just going back to what Liam said there, is there a say when it comes to children, how does it work? And also, just to repeat, Premiership clubs, bigger teams, like bigger competitions, Champions League, how would it work? Do you reckon it will be good for those leagues to do it, or just keep it at lower level leagues because it's all about boosting, crowd and atmosphere and down there, the numbers?
I mean, Mike, what did you say? What was that you said in the chat about Stevenage and having the atmosphere?
Yeah, basically, it's the standing area is where all the drums and that are allowed, and all the atmosphere, the people who create the atmosphere congregate anyway. But and when we go to away games, you can actually notice it's an all-seater ground, and the drums are there. It's still the same sort of atmosphere, but it's because they're still allowing the drums in. But at our home games, they don't allow them into the seating part. Yeah.
But I mean, it sounds like you're saying that the atmosphere is basically there anyway because you got the drummers with you. So it's not whether they're standing or sitting. Area,
the standing section.
Yeah. So whether they're standing or sitting, they've still got the atmosphere there because the drummers and the band are generating it.
Yeah, but then over the other side where it's all seaters, it's absolutely quiet. Dead silent. You can hear a pin drop.
Yeah. But then, Gman, remember when we went to England, Ghana?
Yeah.
And we like the end that we were in, we were trying to start chants, and we just thought to ourselves, damn, we're in the wrong end.
Yeah, definitely, because we were like the family and that sort of end. Yeah,
because you had the England boys on the far side, and you had the Ghana lot who were absolutely fantastic. But that's the point I'm getting at is standing doesn't make the difference in terms of atmosphere. It's the fans. At the end of the day, the fans have got to bring it for me. So, but you know what? Yeah.
I just want to add one little thing in by Kane Bennett.
Because he's had another thing. Yeah,
we just asked him. Interesting, you say what with the point that standing works here, and we said interesting. You say that, but will it work at the bigger clubs? Is it safe as they say it is? Yeah, and he's gone on to say yes, it works for big clubs in Germany, and he's also said Hillsborough won't be forgotten and certainly won't be repeated. Right. My answer to that, you never know.
Yeah, the only thing for sure is that nothing's for sure.